Trinidad, secret capital in the land of green gold. Lying to the south of the Caribbean island of Cuba, Trinidad was founded by the Spaniard Velazquez as a third settlement. In the 18th century, and as an intermediate stop prior to the conquest of Mexico, the city experienced wealth and recognition through the cultivation of sugarcane. The exclusive palaces and villas of the sugar barons still leave their marks on the city. High wooden gates, barred windows and original roof tiles characterise the style of bygone days. Original decorative wooden trellises were replaced by imaginative forged iron in the 19th century. These so-called rejas were meant to link life in the street with life inside the house. Thus, the occupants could keep all their doors and windows open, whilst enjoying the reassurance of protective bars. The Colonial quarter, with brightly coloured painted houses and palaces, is located in the higher northern part of the town. From most locations, Trinidad's most famous landmark can be seen, the bell tower of Iglesia La Santísima. This is where the convent of St. Francis of Assisi was situated, which in 1929 gave way to a school. Splendid exotic beauty in a land situated between sun and socialism, between sugar and cigars, between rumba and revolution. Here, it is as though everything is in a state of suspended animation, waiting to be kissed awake. Palacio Padron lies directly on the Plaza Mayor, the centre of town. A few years ago, the palace was lovingly restored in painstaking detail and transformed into an archaeological museum. Around the main square, the most beautiful palaces stand in rows and are impressive indicators of the colonial lifestyle enjoyed by the former sugar aristocracy. Casa Ortiz lies directly at the Plaza Mayor. These treasures of the past are well looked after and on public view. Here, creations of naive art mix with the influence of European art over many decades. Spanish conquerors left their traces here, just as did the Indians and African slaves. Short but heavy tropical rain showers enchant the old town. Shimmering, damp, shiny stone facades and statues radiate an inevitable dreamy charm. The drumming of the rain adds to our impression of an alluring legacy of several decades. First came the Spaniards. They became interested in the region when they heard that gold had been discovered in its small rivers. But the gold rush was short-lived, and in comparison with the inexhaustible gold that was to be had in Mexico, they soon lost interest. Subsequently, life in Trinidad was relatively calm, its inhabitants prospering from smuggling and its very own fleet of pirate ships. Little is known of what really happened in earlier times, and it's only since the middle of the 18th century that the town has truly prospered. The slave trade and the cultivation of sugarcane made the island's inhabitants incredibly wealthy, and Trinidad became the most important cultural and trade centre in the whole of Cuba. As a result of these prosperous times, there was no limit to the extravagant demands of the population, and anything and everything was imported from abroad. So we get a picture of a unique town with many magnificent buildings. A colonial jewel which, because of its remote location, remained fully intact. Trinidad is home to the greatest number of museums in the country. In the former residence of Casa de los Sanchez, there's a museum of architecture that contains 8 exhibition rooms. The elegant colonial interior decor of this grand palace-type villa indicates how these properties were furnished at a time of great wealth. From the vast profits of sugarcane cultivation, the plantation owners built elegant buildings and had furniture and artifacts shipped in from Europe. Benefiting from the mild climate, lush vegetation spills across the courtyards of the villas with a green and tranquil beauty. The past remains as it was, as eventual economic decline appears to have frozen this place in time. Here, time stands both still and silent. Even today, the glory of the past is everywhere. Tranquility and peace have not been invaded by modern life. The Iglesia La Santísima Trinidad is located on the north side of the Plaza Mayor. The special attraction of this church, built in 1884, is the Cristo de Veracruz, the figure of Christ that was originally destined for the town of Veracruz in Mexico. A ship that was transporting the wooden figure attempted to sail to its destination 3 times, but adverse weather conditions forced the ship back. This was interpreted as a sign from God. All historical roads wind round the main square, the Plaza Mayor. In earlier times, dogs were very popular here and were the loyal companions of their masters. Artistic ceramic vases and statues of women decorate the small inner square, which is also protected by an iron railing. The yellow building on the north side of the square is Palacio Brunet, where the Museo Romantico is now housed. The palace was built in 1740 and for many decades was occupied by the family of Count Nicholas Brunet y Muñoz. Originally, the house was constructed of wood and covered with palm leaves. Only much later was it strengthened by solid walls and its roof tiled. museum contains a valuable collection of furniture, vases and glassware, which date back to the 18th century. Here there's also a modern-looking kitchen with an amazing assortment of utensils. Hardly believable, it's actually more than 100 years old. But at the beginning of the 19th century, Trinidad lost its importance in the region. This was mainly because the harbour of neighbouring Cienfuegos was strategically more favourable. Subsequently, the town's prosperity was replaced by poverty and decay. Everywhere there's an inescapable feeling of nostalgia. Throughout the centuries, various religions have been practiced here, which in turn have influenced the island's own unique beliefs. Trinidad is a gem which hides beneath nostalgia, a glittering diamond that was once the most prestigious town in the colonial world. The former palace of the Cantero sugar barons now houses the Museo De Historia, an impressive, gigantic and wonderful building in the Calle Bolivar. Cantero was not only prosperous, artistically talented and well educated, he was also an admirer of beautiful treasures. Thus it was apt to accommodate this museum in his palace. Here, visitors can marvel at old timepieces, items of porcelain and furniture from around the world, and also at valuable crystal chandeliers. The palace's private rooms are also open to the public. The impression of the lifestyle of the ruling classes of the period is overwhelming. And it's all too easy to forget the hard labour of black slaves, without whom all these riches and the feudal lifestyle of those in power would not have been possible. Wandering through shady arcade passages, as once the plantation owners did, takes one into another world. Tentatively, all the beauties of this exotic world are exposed to its visitors. The palace has simply everything at its disposal, from ovens and all kinds of cooking utensils, right up to a large, modern, open-air kitchen with generous work surfaces. In the centre of the idyllic inner courtyard, there's also a small fountain adorned with figures spouting water. Along narrow winding stairs, the route leads up to a small tower, from where there's an extensive view of the town and the palace. Trinidad idles away as if bewitched and waiting to be rediscovered. Only in the middle of the 20th century was its historic meaning recognised once again, thus transforming the town into a cultural monument. Like any cemetery, this peaceful spot has many tales to tell. From the first Spanish settlers who tried their luck here, to affluent smugglers, and right up to the demise of the aristocratic barons of the sugar dynasties. Sugarcane as far as the eye can see, surrounded by humid, deep green tropical forests. East of Trinidad lies the Valle de los Ingenios, the Valley of the Sugar Mill. The 7-storey Torre De Iznaga rises menacingly 50 meters up into the sky. The bells of the tower once summoned the plantation slaves to work, while watchmen surveyed the entire valley from above because of the fears of the plantation owners who believed that one day the slaves would rebel against them. What today gives the impression of an idyllic landscape was for thousands of black slaves nothing but purgatory. However, these glorious times were brought to an end by sugar beet and slave uprisings, and no town has changed as little in the past 200 years as Trinidad.